Hi everybody, today I'm going to do a video about some cleansings that you can do, and on my blog I talked about spiritual baths, and cleansing is mainly preventative. A lot of people just do it when there's a problem, but that's a problem because cleansings can't remove everything. Basically, there's a lot more serious work that has to be done in certain cases, and so I'd say minimum once a week. If you're a spiritual person, if you pick up spirits, if you're a medium, if you do spiritual work, if you do healings, if you go places. We all go places every day, and that's why I say you should do it minimum once a week. So I'm not going to talk about spiritual baths because everybody knows about spiritual baths. But I will say, there's technique to it. Initiated priests can put a lot more energy and power into it than you can make yourself. And the knowledge, a lot of people don't want to hear that, but certain plants that you use and don't use for situations, stuff like that, and where to put it, like neck down, etc. Certain herbs on your head, as well as you wouldn't do a money bath and think that is cleansing. You need to do something that's cleansing, and then you can bring in what you do want after. Like I've discussed on a recent post, you can't open and close a door at the same time. That's my opinion and the philosophy behind the things we do, and we should really know why we do things we do and the property of certain herbs, etc. And I'm going to be doing a video about activating herbs and stuff that you work with as well in a different separate video coming up. So I'll just link that because I'm not going to talk about spiritual baths. And that's one of the main ways people know about cleansing. I'm going to go through elements that can just fall under water. But what I will say, though, is that ocean water is bitter, and that's very cleansing to jump in the ocean with that in mind, with offerings, as well as at the river. You don't want to be facing the river because that gives you stuff. You actually want to have your back to where the river's flowing, and even stand in the water and be pushing that energy along away from you. Also, you want to cleanse yourself or take a spiritual bath after you cleanse your house, and you might want to protect yourself because you're kicking up all that spiritual energy. So your head wraps, your waist ties, whatever you're going to use. Of course, before Misa, if you're doing any dirty work, if you have to do that. But these cleanses don't cleanse your spirit necessarily or your mind. That's more personal work that you have to do, and it's between you and God, your guilt and all that, like just cleansing yourself with hyssop and rue. That's not going to just make the creator forget what you've done on earth. I mean, not to get into the whole karma thing, that's a different conversation, whatever you want to believe, but cleansing your body doesn't necessarily cleanse your everything else, like your mind, your bad thoughts, etc. After you heal people, or before and after you're doing healings, you don't want to pick up people's sicknesses, etc. So some just basic stuff. So I'm going to get more into techniques now. So a lot of people do know about smudging. If you're going to use sage, I suggest you combine it with at least 2 other herbs. It's not my favorite thing to work with. I don't like the smell, and I think it's overdone and harmful to the environment, etc., 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 and not necessarily used even for cleansing. But some people say anything that you burn is smoke, is cleansing. So with that in mind, anything you burn. You could even just use an incense stick, pass it over your body from your head down to your feet. Tobacco smoke. Tobacco is very dominating, so it can dominate negative energy and help remove that. And you would just place a cigar in your mouth backwards to cleanse someone, so the lit end inside your mouth. Be careful not to burn yourself or get a bunch of ash in your mouth, and then you would just jettison that smoke out. Use smudging fans to also remove the energy, kind of like pulling that energy off. And it's intuitive, feeling it with your hands, feeling where you need to do, what kind of movements you need to do, whether it's counterclockwise or pulling outwards from the body, and then moving on. I like to do head to toe because I feel like it's the most clean or spiritual area to the most dense energy down to earth. I know that some shamans, when they do the egg cleansings in South America, they will go back up again with an egg on your body, but I would rather use 3 eggs, like one for the top half of the body, middle section, and then middle down. That's just me, and that's originally the way I was taught to do it. It's just do your cleansings head down, because that decreases what you don't want, whereas the thought is Some spiritual baths, you can sponge up your body. I don't necessarily follow that or do hoodoo. I do more like brujeria, folk magic, and of the traditions I'm in. So, and then where you dispose of the cleansings can differ. You can ask your spirits, whether you're going to go drop that off at a tree or a forest offering, a crossroads, an offering, the river with an offering, or just throw it in the garbage, or throw it in the garbage far from your house, where you don't normally pass by, and then take a different route back, etc. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You don't want to just throw it in your garbage and leave it in your house, because the energy's still there. You want to take it out of your place. Of course, in the city, our stuff goes when we take a spiritual bath, our stuff goes down the drain and goes away from us anyways. So with eggs, spiritual cleansing, I throw that in the toilet. I throw salt down there, and then I flush it. But I'm going to talk more about eggs later. Okay. So talked about smudging, so water, air, fire, and a fire safe cauldron or a bowl. You can light some Florida water in here. You can do rubbing alcohol with some herbs, whatever you like to do. You can burn a square of camphor as well, and that's used in pujas, or I don't know how to say that, in Indian, East India cleansings. And you just be careful, but Florida water is really not that hot. It's very flammable on fabrics, but to your hand, to your touch, you just pass over your body, cleanse back in the fire like you're throwing it, kind of like cleansing yourself over the baveda and the water glasses, doing the hand passes or the blowing water, the bowl of water. It's very traditional in our traditions. And then also, if you want to absorb some energy, you can also just pat the fire on your body to absorb it. And of course, after you cleanse, you always want to bring in something positive, whether you're anointing yourself with some blessing oil, or like I watched Cassandra's video, she uses cocoa butter to help seal her energy in her body, and of course use that more in Santeria Ocha, etc. So whatever you're going to do, take a sweet bath, sweet incense, whatever you're going to do. You want to bring in the blessings, because you don't want something negative to just come back and fill that vacuum. You want something positive. Fire walks. Again, we use Florida water, fire walks. A candle. You can take a candle. You can also pass that over your body. You can do reversals with the candles, or just use the candle, pass it over your body. You can anoint it with some reversing or banishing oil, whatever you want to do. Pass it all over your body. Pay attention to any special areas of illness, like sore throat or stomach issues, pulling it away. And then you can light that candle in front of your spirits. You can give it to them and say, please. You're not dumping on them or giving them your negative energy. Someone made a post about that, where it's going to the cemetery and dumping all the depression on people, and you have to be very careful with that. So it's more like you're asking them to transmute that energy. Same as just like dumping your crap on Mother Earth. Like there has to be more of a intention about it, that you want this energy to be transmuted, and please cleanse me. Please take away this energy from me, because they're actually your spirits as well. You can do that. You can put it there. Also, if you cleanse yourself with, I'm going to get into more earth now after, say fruit or something. You can cleanse yourself with it, leave it to your spirits for a little while, and also take it away. So that's not really in your place, manifesting things or just being stagnant and just something thrown in the corner. They're actively working with that. So also gunpowder charges to send something out and away from you. That's a little bit more advanced. There's other substitutes you could use instead of gunpowder, like someone else the other day was talking about Avesta, saltpeter. But be careful with fire. Obviously, it's very explosive, aggressive, energy can cause fire, basically. So cleansing with earth. So, and a lot of these things don't have to be expensive. They're stuff that you already have in your kitchen. So, a little bit of food that's left over on your plate. So I'm being given advice and coaching and sharing information with this awesome Santera, Angela. So she said, take a little bit of food that's left on your plate and cleanse yourself with that, and then throw that in the garbage, whatever, because it's something that you don't want. It represents something that you don't want. In general, food, more alive the material, the better, is also good in certain situations. I'm not going to cover animals, live animals, and that's something you would need help with a priest or someone who has a license to do it or has received the ceremonial knives and know how to safely and ethically do that. But an egg is actually one of the closest things to, it's an alive cell to that, and that's why it can be used very effectively, but I'll touch on that in a second. So plants. So this is a mother-in-law's, also known as snake's tongue. This one had a yellow border, so this is actually Oya or Santa Barbara. I think the plain one is more for St. George or Ogun, but this is more like for against gossip, and it's sharp like a sword, almost like cutting energy away from your body, which you can also do. So you can just pass this over your body. Same thing, it's passed over your body. Also make sure you get the hands on your body. When you do your feet, when you're done, do heels out like that. And this cuts everything negative away. Now you can use this with a bundle of herbs, throw a little Florida water on there, whatever. And like a bundle of herbs, you can use your flowers that have been in your altar, cleanse yourself with it. You can send that down the river, or then when you're done cleansing or cleansing your house, the corners, whatever it is, whatever, it's a broom, you can put it up, set it on fire, whatever. So this item, after you're done cleansing, you can also break negativity like this. It's fresh. Bend it to break the energy and then throw it out. Okay. Another really easy thing to do is bread. If your bread's going a little bit old, you can just throw it in the freezer. On your freezer. I had a piece of bread here. Oh, there it is. So this is in the freezer. It's still frozen. That's fine. You can also pass it over your body. You can use this more like soap. Actually rub it on your body, around, etc. Right? Same thing. And grains and bread is really good for health problems as well. Bread represents the body, etc. So do that. Cleanse yourself again. Throw it out. Use a handful of dried beans. You can just like a dried soup beans or mixed beans, even at the dollar store, right? Another thing you can do is if you have a bag, you can put whatever items in the bag, your beans, whatever you're cleansing yourself with payment, and then go drop it off wherever you're going to drop it off. You can cleanse yourself even with candies from the dollar store. A bunch of candies, put it in the bag, whatever. Not together, but candies or beans, say. So it's in here, it's in the bag, and then you cleanse yourself like this. Right? Also beating motions to lessen the energy of somebody, back of the neck, the back, right? Paying special attention also to the intestines, negative energy, right? The waist area, down the body. Dispose of it or out where you're going to go drop that off, right? So everybody has those type of things at home. Also, whatever you're cleansing yourself with, also that Santara I talked about said you might not want to eat that item for a couple days. So if you cleanse yourself with an egg, say, or beans, maybe don't eat beans for 3 days. Also, a book I read, Wizard of the Four Winds, I think it's called. They would have a prohibition on eating things like vines, so like squashes, peas, etc., because it's entangling energy, and you want to, like a spider web, and you want to get detangled from that energy. So they would have prohibition on the client eating that for a couple of days to try to cleanse them and disinvolve them from the situation. So yeah, if you cleanse yourself with bread, maybe don't eat bread for 3 days. If you cleanse yourself with eggs, maybe don't cleanse yourself for 3 days. You don't have to follow that, but it's a good idea. And also, if you're really being afflicted with something, cleanse yourself with something different every day. You can do that, okay? And you might find that a little bit more effective. Okay, so eggs. Egg cleansing, there's a lot of videos out there how to do it, etc., etc. A lot of people say don't break it into the water glass in your house because you're releasing the energy and it's not necessarily going to be trapped by the water. So what you can do is you put a few drops of holy water in the water when you drop the egg in there. The other thing is that when you're looking at the egg, you're looking for patterns, you're diagnosing. If the egg is floating, that's a negative sign. If there's blood in it, that's a negative sign. Strands, we all pick up things of energy, etc., like that. But that's mainly actually a tool used for also for divination. If you're cracking the egg, it's mainly used for divination. So if you see a lot of things in there, it means that you need to keep going with egg cleansings, or you need to then cleanse yourself with something else, because that's just a way of looking into the situation. If you cleanse yourself and then crack the egg, that's not necessarily cleansing. It's more used for divination, basically. And I think a lot of these traditions, a lot gets lost in translation when people see it and then want to do it and aren't fully explained everything with it. So with that being said, also with eggs, it's very, very common in these traditions. You can go buy a flat of eggs for like 88 cents here, and you would use 10 of them to all cleanse yourself. And then you could put it in a basket in front of your spirits. And then you go take the basket and the eggs and everything and then go drop it off somewhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you have anything to add to it, this is some of the material that I'm going to be putting into my book, but of course there's a lot more that I'm putting into it. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment. Hope you guys enjoy. See you later.